You know, it's so crazy to me because I'm asked so many times if I'm resentful in any type of way for where the WNBA is right.
What every supporter of Caitlin Clark has been yelling throughout the season was just stated by Candace Parker. And the old guard in the WNBA didn't want to hear it at all. And the league must pay attention, particularly the commissioner, because it has only gotten worse. Despite our hopes that a new season would bring a new approach toward Caitlin and her admirers, the animosity is deeper, the jealousy is louder, and the double standards are more obvious than before. However, WNBA legend Candace just intervened and made them all look stupid. It's only a matter of common sense. Comments that break through the clutter and provide context for the entire issue. Perhaps now they'll take a moment to reflect, because this is what this season has taught us. The league becomes louder and more self-destructive as Caitlin wins more. Let's examine what Candace stated because it may be the most subtle yet powerful retaliation against the WNBA's old guard and those who despise Caitlin Clark. First though, enjoy this video. For the haters, each like is equivalent to one tissue. After what Candace stated, they will require it. Remember to subscribe for more updates on Fever and Caitlin Clark. Alright, so why does it matter and why is Candace speaking up now? Here's the primary explanation.
Out of women's basketball for a horrible team when she arrived. Outside of LeBron and Steph, she is the most well-known basketball player currently playing in the United States.
Oh, yes. And I don't think that's close.
The WNBA is now growing at an incredible rate. And Caitlin Clark is the reason for it all. In sports, it's the worst-kept secret. Not only is Caitlin Clark the most well-liked player in WNBA history, she is probably America's most well-liked athlete. Forget about it. The numbers from the previous season are all known to us. TV ratings have reached a record high, ticket sales have surged, and merchandise is flying off the shelves. One indisputable fact was indicated by every quantifiable statistic. No one can move the needle like Caitlin. She's already surpassing it this year. Record-breaking viewership and packed stadia. There is no slowing down of the Caitlin Clark effect. It's growing larger.
Second highest viewership, which is like average viewership. However, it was the highest peak of any game ever on CBS.
Season. A record number of people are tuning in to see Caitlin Clark and the Fever. A preseason exhibition match against Brazil attracted 1.3 million views at first. Give that some thought. The results of a preseason game were better than those of most regular season games. Then came the first game of the season. It was the most watched WNBA regular season game in 25 years with an average of 2.7 million viewers against the Sky. And most recently, 3.3 million people watched her fight the Liberty. However, after she was hurt, things quickly...
Oh, the ticket prices for the Fever and Sky game just plummeted to Hades.
The cost of tickets for Fever games without Caitlin fell by 300%. The rest of the league fell well behind, even if Fever supporters have held their own in TV ratings. I'll talk about it in a few minutes. Everyone should take note of this. The league itself, players, coaches, and the front office. It is anticipated that Caitlin Clark will bring in more than $1 billion for the WNBA this year alone. One thing is implied by that. The WNBA might lose all of its momentum with just one severe injury to Caitlin Clark. I know you believe you have the upper hand, but without Caitlin, forget about those CBA monies Angel Rebel believes are coming and the new agreement Nafisa Collier claims the players have leverage for. Nevertheless, the league continues to shoot itself in the foot. They tie themselves into knots, acting as though it's something else rather than accepting the apparent truth about who's driving this growth. Instead of acknowledging the progress, they continued to steer the discourse away from
These mics, like I stated, are the ones that's race baiting. Not even bringing up the names, but all the people that I'm seeing that are tied within the WNBA media, coaches, all type of things. They are very resentful of Caitlin Clark, and I don't know why. It doesn't make sense when you have somebody that's doing what she's doing for the WNBA.
Even though the season is just a few games old, Caitlin and her supporters have already experienced facepal after facepal. The mayhem began after just one game. The league opened an investigation into alleged hate speech following the first game against the Sky, but the evidence was insufficient. However, the harm had already been done. The headlines were stolen rather than honoring an amazing debut and a momentous occasion for the league. It has nothing to do with basketball. It had to do with controversy. Once more, Caitlin Clark and her supporters were drawn into a story that had little to do with the actual events that took place on the court.
though it's 100% false, by acknowledging we don't condone hate and not seeing that this was a internet rumor founded of complete bullshit, you're lending credence to this. There was
Story that Clark's fan base was nasty and that Indianapolis wasn't safe for athletes emerged from that catastrophe. In fact, there were calls to postpone the All-Star game. Some were calling for Dave Portoy to be barred from arenas due to his heckling of Angel Reese. In the meantime, the league has said nothing at all about the genuine animosity that Caitlyn and the Fever are facing. No words, no
stuff that's being said to Kelsey Mitchell, the kind of things that are being said to Natasha Howard are actually wild. People have taken a photo of these women and circled a bullseye on them and have said, "It's on site when I see you." Those are actual threats.
There was much more to the remarks made about the Fever players, particularly Caitlyn, than just basketball. They weren't merely critiques of her popularity or game. They were intimidating.
Caitlin Clark is getting some of the grossest, most morbid comments, racist, hateful. We're talking the cup runneth over with hate. Here, Kathy Engelbert, you're no space for hate. Where are you, Rex?
The things that are being spoken to them. Kelsey Mitchell and Natasha Howard are quite outrageous. These women have been photographed and a bullseye has been drawn around them and have made threats by saying things like, "It's on site when I see you." These were
article goes on and gives herself credit for why the WNBA has finally entered some type of mainstream conversation.
They posed real dangers. The kind of targeted personal insults you would expect the league to at least announce, given that it frequently promotes its position on hatred and inclusivity. Instead, there was silence, no defense, no support, and it became worse.
Fans on X are now accusing Caitlyn of exploiting her assistant coaches.
To new followers and outside observers, our organization's success might seem overnight and even lucky, prepared by a singularly exceptional group of college players coming into the WNBA. However, we could not have capitalized on those advantages without years of hard work and preparation. Years of hard work and preparation. It might have seemed like it came over.
Yes, it is correct.
Because Caitlyn is holding a baby, they are attacking her. We are dealing with that level of conversation. Conspiracy has replaced criticism, and the league has yet to respond. Thus, the animosity directed at Caitlyn and her followers has completely vanished. If anything, it has just gotten worse. There is still opposition to recognizing her influence, despite all the statistics, sold-out games, and record-breaking viewership.
They just can't. They just can't not even wrap their head around. They can't just accept, okay, this person is more popular than me, or this person is more popular than the player that we want to push.
Next voice. In a post she wrote for the Harvard Business Review, Commissioner Kathy Engelbert practically went out of her way to claim credit and distribute it to everyone but the person who is truly responsible for the league's success. You name it, front office strategy, marketing teams, players, coaches, etc., she brought it up. Everyone received a pat on the back, but Caitlyn Clark...
These arenas where there are 15 to 20,000 people in the stands, they are in front of people that they haven't been in front of before. That is an opportunity for all of us fans to get to know all the players on the court, all of the players in the WNBA, to pick new favorite players, to pick other teams that we want to follow.
A dot more than a McDonald's fountain soda, she significantly lessened Caitlyn's influence. As these rookies joined the league, regular season games attracted an average of 1.2 million spectators, rising 170% from the previous season, according to Engelbert's report, which included Caitlyn Clark along with Angel Reese and Cameron Brink. However, you're dog-eye and you are all aware of it. On average, 1.2 million people watched Caitlyn's games. However, there's a never-ending race to give gold stars to anyone but Caitlyn, since the old guard can't...
all about money, marketing, and we cannot deny what Caitlyn Clark has done for the women's game. I'm not going to act like it's something that we don't see. She's had a huge effect. call it the Caitlin Clark effect. Yes, have we ever had teams have to get into larger arenas to play against a team? No, we have not. So if we have more eyeballs on the game and Caitlin Clark brings that, why would we feel some kind of way because she has more television?
Being envious is one thing. It's human. However, what we're witnessing goes beyond that. There's this need to knock Caitlin down in order to feel better for some reason. And far too often, people immediately blame racism for the attention she is receiving, as if it had nothing to do with the fact that she broke 62 WNBA records, was named a first-team All-Star, finished 4th in the MVP voting, and in her first season pulled a bottom-dwelling team into the playoffs. It's crazy because whether they like to acknowledge it or not, Caitlin Clark's contributions are improving everyone's circumstances. It doesn't end there when she is in the spotlight.
Ultimately, it comes down to the fact that there were an abundance of women in the WNBA doing tremendous work on behalf of the WNBA and the game of basketball, and you just sense that folks were feeling an absence of appreciation.
Next voice. Legends who have actually constructed this league and are aware of the risks have already voiced their opinions. One of the most revered voices in women's basketball and a Hall of Famer is Lisa Leslie. When she pointed out the jealousy around Caitlin Clark, Mike essentially dumped the entire WNBA.
Then this dude named Michael Jordan came along. And Michael Jordan came along and he wasn't yet winning championships, but his popularity was so astronomical that the NBA practically marketed everything they could around this guy. So to know that there's an example like that as a shining example to be followed that could benefit the league, particularly down the road, why is that an issue when we've seen that such a marketing plan has worked in the past?